Greetings, friends and foes, and welcome along to Keep Your Friends Close and Your Animes Closer, a podcast where we lift the weight that is anime and train our anime muscles. I am your anime personal trainer on this, episode 31. My name is Joel.
I am your first-time anime gym goer. My name is Robert.
I'm your anime fat guy trying to lose weight before summer.
See you sneaking those donuts.
So lots of low weight, lots of reps. Isn't that how you lose weight? Stamina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of really short seasons.
Because otherwise, because if you're like building muscle, you're actually putting on weight.
Yeah. So we need to get you on some 12 episodes, some 6 episode seasons.
Right.
Furikuli is really good. Get you in there, get those muscles ready, boy. We're coming into summer.
Tone up them flabs, abs.
Awesome.
This week, as a group, we watched Revolutionary Girl Utena episodes 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to talk about that right now. But first, last time on Keep Your Friends Close and Your Animes Closer. Robert, do you have any follow-up?
I do not have follow-up. Do you have follow-up?
This is a first. I do have follow-up. But it's not from the podcast directly. I have follow-up. I didn't know where to put it, so I'm going to put it here from Reddit. I saw your conversation with that guy about Devilman Crybaby,
and
I had made a comment about it, and I feel like maybe you have the wrong impression of it. It's actually pretty good. Like, when I say I have my problems with it, I don't like the protagonist, because I feel like he's annoyingly naive.
Right.
But there's a lot more to it than just an edgelord show. Does a lot to do with, like, mass hysteria and how social media can be used to manipulate people, which is really interesting. And, like, what it means to be human is a good theme that is in the thing. It's dense. I just feel like it wasn't executed in the best way. But the end of the show is well worth the kind of cringy first 5 episodes of setup.
That's cool.
Especially the last episode.
Is it only 6 episodes?
It's 10.
Oh.
No, sorry. It's
so like, cringe is 5, and then there's another few good ones.
Yeah.
That's good. Alright, cool. I'll put it on my list.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to follow up was, and this is again kind of like how I had to be like, call myself out for doing a really awful job recommending Neon Genesis, which will always be on my conscience. I feel like I've been thinking about Grave of the Fireflies. I recommended that movie one time. Can you even remember what it is?
No.
See? Bad job. Bad job recommending it.
Okay. Oh, what?
Grave of the Fireflies.
Not from its name. If you started describing it, I'd remember. But
so I can't even remember what I said about it, but I remember I was just thinking about how I did a bad job. I'm not going to do a full recommendation.
That's not the one where it's like a weird genre and it's like spooky and there's a kid at the school and there's somebody being chopped up in the graveyard.
No, that's Higurashi Nakukoru ni, or When They Cry. No, Grave of the Fireflies is a post-World War II story set in Japan, and it follows the story of 2 orphans, and I think all I said was that it's very sad. It is very, very sad, but it's also really well written, and it's based on a short story written by somebody who survived firebombing in Japan from America, and directed by somebody who was in the middle, also survived firebombing. So it's like auteured by 2 people who had first-hand experience of what the movie is about, the aftermath of, and it's about people learning to deal with that, and also just like 2 kids dying very slowly, which is
that's my kind of story.
No, it's an important story. I feel like it's really good, and I feel like it did a bad job. So check it out.
That was Studio Ghibli.
It wasn't directed by Hayao Miyazaki. I forget the name of the director, unfortunately, because I am not. My anime muscles are still a little bit of flabby.
Right. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
I was going to launch into that song, but that's from High School Musical, and so I won't. What I will do is go into Revolutionary Girl Utena Abridged.
Episode 4, title
The Sunlit Garden Prelude.
Starts off with an introduction to Miki, the blue-haired timekeeper of the student council. He challenges Utena to a duel. And then there's like one of those moments that might as well be like a record scratch. I guess you're wondering how I got into this position. It goes back to like a few days ago, and he's playing the piano and he's really good at it. He's a real prodigy, a real Mozart. And then he talks to the blonde sister, Nanami, about having lost his spark recently. Wakaba and Utena have just failed a math test, and they're complaining about that. And then we cut to Anthy just going about her day, regular as anything, and then slap right across the face again.
4 for 4. Every episode,
Anthy's got a slap. This time it's the mean girls again, blaming her for Miki having dropped out of some music competition. But he turns up just in time to save her and say she had nothing to do with it. He, as an apology, I guess, he corrects her math test for her. And Utena discovers that he's on the student council, but he assures her that even though he's got a rose ring, he doesn't want to duel her. Which is weird, because we know that he does. Kiryu compliments Miki's playing, and Miki attributes his need to always practice to trying to find and reclaim his, quote, shining thing, unquote.
Yeah.
Miki arrives at Utena's place to help tutor them both in remedial maths, and Nanami tags along because she still has it out for Anthy, and she has nefarious plans. First, she borrows Anthy's pencil case, intending on putting a snail in it, and embarrassing Anthy for being unclean and leaving snails around the place. But when she opens it, boom, it's already filled with snails. Far from being embarrassing, Miki actually says that it's cute that Anthy is like that. Unperturbed, Nanami goes on to phase 2. She whips out a snake and puts it in her desk drawer.
Can't do the laugh.
She's got the same scenario playing out in her head about how she's going to be embarrassed. You've let a snake into your drawer, but as soon as she opens the drawer to put the snake in, that's where Mr. Mongoose lives, and the snake gets eaten. Alright, last chance. Nanami dons rubber gloves and pulls out an octopus to place in her closet, where a giant inflated octopus balloon already lives. So she can't pull one over on her. She just can't do it.
Hack it.
By this stage, Nanami's lost it, and her hair's gone all bedraggled and just losing it. She gets out her bento box for a snack, only to find that Choo-Choo has made short work of it. So Anthy makes them all shaved ice instead. That's the last straw for Nanami. She snaps and she shouts about hating Anthy. Anthy leaves and starts playing the piano next door, and it's the same song that Miki always plays. Miki flashes back to playing the piano with his sister, and Anthy is his shining thing.
She can play piano goodly.
She can real good. She does a good piano. Episode 5, title:
The Sunlit Garden Finale.
Opens with fencing between Orange and Blue, Jury and Miki. Miki helps Anthy in her greenhouse, and then they play piano and that famous song that he's always playing. Turns out, he actually wrote that with his twin sister back when they were kids and they would play together, before his sister stopped playing the piano altogether. I sense a flashback coming. They were due to play a big concert to a big group of people, and she was scared, but he promised to be right there beside her throughout the whole thing, until he came down with measles and was bedridden. She had to go on her own, and she was humiliated having to play alone, and she hasn't played the piano since. He lost his shining thing. They keep referring to it as shining thing like that's a thing that we've heard before.
I don't know.
He's been trying to get it back ever since, and he sees it in Anthy. He thinks it might be there finally. He's back to his usual self. Miki overhears Utena speaking of how ridiculous it is to not let Anthy have free will just because of some duels, and he takes it to the student council and proposes that they abolish the Rose Bride thing on the grounds of free will. Kiryu isn't happy with this. Miki arrives at the music hall and he bumps into his sister. Is she playing piano again? No, she's fucking Kiryu.
Yeah.
Kiryu
he says, were you playing piano? She says, there's more things than playing piano that you can do in the music room. And I was like, what is that?
And then he walks in and Kiryu's shirtless, basically, and he's... Kiryu says, I just did it to teach you a lesson, effectively.
Yeah.
I wanted to teach you that if you don't protect your precious things, people will take them from you. Or fuck them.
And then Anthy shows up.
Yeah.
And she's like, you wanted me? And he's like, I did.
I did. He says, only the one engaged to the Rose Bride can make her do what they want. Like, for instance, if they wanted her to stop playing piano, he can't let that happen. So he decides, I'm going to have to be engaged to her if I want her to continue playing piano with me. So he challenges Utena to a duel for Anthy's hand. Then there's the shadow puppet metaphor containing pirates and talking about what they want and taking what they want. Then one magic door, gushing water and spiral staircase music video later, she's back up in the dueling hall and they fight. Miki is good, but Utena is better. She beats him.
He was going to win, but then Anthy rooted for Utena, and then it broke his little heart.
Threw him off. Utena manages to get it. Because he's a good fencer, apparently, and she was struggling. We see his sister playing piano, and she's not great. She's telling her friend that she never was any good, but Miki was always so good that he was covering for her with his good playing without even realising it.
Because that's how instruments work.
Yeah. Miki approaches Utena to accept the defeat like a sportsman, saying that next time he won't lose.
Didn't wait. He learned from Saionji's mistake though, and didn't just challenge him the next day.
Right away, yeah. Episode 6, title.
Take care, Miss Nanami.
And it is a Nanami episode. Nanami is walking alone at night, and she hears someone following her. She starts to run, and she stumbles into the road, and after a car swerves, narrowly missing her, and stops to check that she's okay, the shadowy pursuer leaves her be. She tells her big bro Kiryu about how someone's trying to kill her with falling flower pots and logs and stuff, and he dismisses it. She sits on the steps outside the school contemplating who has it out for her when she's smashed in the face by Utena's softball. She thinks that it must be Utena that's trying to kill her then, until she overhears Kiryu talking with Anthy in a closed-off greenhouse about how the killing hasn't been successful yet, and they need to up their game. She bursts in and confronts him and runs away in tears. How could you, my own brother? Whoops, if she'd stayed a moment longer, she'd have seen they were talking about pesticide on the greenhouse plants. As she walks away, a runaway horse almost tramples her.
Oh my god.
Saved by a secret prince. The others follow her to see who it is when she goes off to meet him the next day. It's a little elementary school boy. She starts dating him, of course.
Yeah.
Miki says that Nanami wants her brother inside of her, so she's obviously compensating. And then there's a montage of Nanami using and abusing her new boyfriend. And then Greenie turns up out of nowhere to offer his opinion, but
was really funny.
He's told that no one cares, so he just disappears again for the rest of the episode. He was in literally less than 30 seconds of episode. He just in from the side of frame to go, yeah, love can do things to you. Me and Anthy had this, you know. There's a long pause.
We had a secret love.
There's a long pause where nobody acknowledges his existence, and he's like, a secret love.
No one gives a fuck.
Utena goes, no one asked you. And so he just disappears. 3 of Nanami's stalkers turn up, and she gets her new boyfriend to beat them all up. And then Utena challenges her over her abusive relationship with him. She storms away, and then we learn from the boyfriend that he has orchestrated all of these near misses so that he can step in as a hero and save her. In steps Nanami, who has been listening into his confession on secret spyware. And then in comes a wild kangaroo wearing boxing gloves, and Kiryu jumps into the boxing ring wearing his own boxing gloves and knocks that stupid overgrown bouncy mouse right out. And if the last few sentences seemed like I was on acid, you're in good company, because it was really weird.
It was good though.
It was great, but it was weird. Nanami and her new boyfriend break up, and she says, Kiryu, you're the only one for me.
And then her old boyfriend says, well, if we can't be boyfriend-girlfriend, can you adopt me? And maybe I'll be a little brother instead. And then they all walk into the sunset together.
So bizarre. The whole episode was a bit weird, but then, yeah, that last few minutes was like, what is happening?
Funny shit. Thoughts and feelings about... Are we still Shoujo Boys? I am.
Yeah.
I am too. I had a great time with this.
Yeah.
It's weird because I was... the whole time we're watching this, I'm thinking... was it just Dragon Ball Z? Was I being too mean? This is doing some dumb stuff that I don't know if I would have let it slide. But you know what? I don't know. I don't have an answer yet. But...
How do you mean, sorry? What?
So, like, with Dragon Ball Z, we were constantly complaining. We were nitpicking
it wasn't
crazy.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's because, we didn't like the show, so everything bothered us, whereas we kind of like this show, so all the little stupid things were like,
you let things slide.
Tyke.
Right.
You old rascal.
Yeah, maybe. It comes down to, like, what was it? Like a consistency thing. Like, if it's intentionally odd and has like weird things that you can, but it's not just sloppy writing.
True.
If the problems that we have come about because of sloppy writing, like it was unintentional problems, which I think it was with DBZ.
Yeah.
Whereas the problems with this one, it's kind of intentional in the spirit of the weirdness of the show.
Good summary. I agree. I'm having a fantastic time.
I think, and then us just talking about the points that we liked versus
the points that are just like...
And then maybe that was why we like nitpicked at Dragon Ball Z.
True.
Because we were going through each
I'm just having to relive all the fuck bits.
Every bit. Oh yeah, that was that bit.
Well, when we end up doing the Cell arc, we'll see how we like it.
Yeah.
I loved when Sayonji came back out. See, episode 6 was filler, but it was funny. It was very entertaining because there was just the kangaroo at the end. Laughed out loud for that. That was very silly. Even the horse.
There was so the boyfriend wanted to step in and save her life because as a even younger kid he saw Kiryu step in and save her life from a runaway bull.
So rule of threes.
So he had a runaway bull, and then he finally managed to get his chance to step in and save her when he managed to let a horse loose in the school. Where did he get a horse?
I don't know.
Where did he get a kangaroo?
And chickens. There were shitloads of chickens with that horse.
What the fuck is happening? And then later on, rule of threes, we have a wild. And they were like, we've done a bull, we've done a horse. What else lives on a farm that might be running away?
A kangaroo.
Kangaroos, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Kangaroo in boxing gloves, no less.
Yeah, but they have more or less confirmed our fan fiction that Nanami wants to bone down with Kiryu.
Yeah, Miki basically just said it.
Yeah,
He was like she's got a real brother complex,
Brother
I think
complex,
he put it. Yeah.
Well, and then she said, "You're the only man for me." Yeah, it's just they want to fuck, and that's that is what it is. You go, well, I wouldn't do it, but fine.
Could you clarify for me how you read the Miki and Anthy relationship? Is he like in love with her, or is he in love with his sister? Or is she a surrogate sister for him?
All good questions, and all of those thoughts ran through my mind as well. So I thought,
At one point,
just last week talked about how I was working on being more articulate. Just give me a second, hang on.
At one point, Utena asks him outright, does that mean you're in love with him? In love with her? And he goes, and he gets all the blush in his cheeks, and he just doesn't answer her at all.
Maybe he doesn't. I you know what, my reading of it, until I get proven otherwise, is that he, and maybe it would lead to love, but Anthy does remind him of his sister, and they were close, and he misses his sister, and so Anthy becomes a surrogate for that feeling, not necessarily his sister specifically. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like nostalgia, straight. It's looking at it with nostalgia glasses because the music reminds him of a better time in his life.
Yeah,
so he wants to protect that.
I'd say the same. The only thing that's steering me away from it is that before he knows that she can play piano well, and reminds him of his sister's playing, he's already kind of when he interrupts the mean girl slapping her and calling her out for whatever it was. He helps her pick up her books that have fallen on the floor, and she says thank you, and then there's like a piano trill, and he goes and it's like her thanking him sets something off.
I like that motif. That could be, doesn't have to be romantic. Maybe it is. It probably is. More than likely it is.
How did you read it, kid?
As romantic.
Yeah.
There we go. 2-1.
Like he has romantic feelings towards Anthy.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's like you said about nostalgia-based feelings. It's like when it's his way of expressing like shining things. I think he's saying that he's just experiencing love, and it's just a creative way of telling that.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting because I kind of believed his character. I thought his character was like, he had this intention of trying to recreate his childhood, and it seemed naive to be chasing that dream.
Especially because he's said to be a freshman in high school, so it's like, what? You're still in your childhood. Why are you recreating your childhood?
I don't see them as children. Yeah.
Dang old children. I really liked the scene when they were studying, and the mongoose and the snails and the octopus. That was really stupid and funny.
I love Choo Choo in that scene. Just in the background doing weird stuff, like he's sucking on an eraser at one point, and his face goes blue because he's like, what's that? He starts to eat the shaved ice, and he's got the brainy eyes.
The way they played out those animation sequences of Nanami thinking through her plan.
Yeah.
Like, opposing the stances, just...
And it's like identical every time.
Yeah.
And the way she's saying it, she's pointing at her and saying,
says the same line.
The same line every time.
Now to enact my plan, everybody will think that Anthy is a weird girl because she keeps snails in her pencil case.
Did you say something?
No.
Oh, no, nothing.
Man, I'm having a great time with this show.
I'm not understanding the like rose motif that they keep putting over the top of stuff, because like when he bumps into his sister as she's coming out of the music hall, there's just the rose in the corner, just like partially spinning.
I would say that it's more of just an artistic thing than anything else.
I don't understand the choice for it, but I suppose it's just an art thing, I guess. I did really like that scene the second time watching it. I actually watched all episodes through twice this time. And the second time watching it, I picked up on something with that I didn't the first time. She's actually in a partial state of undress when she comes out of the music room, and I didn't notice that the first time. But when he bumps into her and drops his books, and as he bends down to do up his books, she quickly zips up the rest of her skirt, and he doesn't see it, because then she goes back into the pose that she was in when he stands up, and she's just like kind of covering herself and like just says something snide to him, and as she walks away, she quickly does up her tie. I missed that the first time.
You need your anime muscles. They have a strange relationship, and I hope that they revisit it. Do you have anything? Or favourite parts? We'll talk about what we like, but what was our absolute favourite part from these 3 episodes?
For me, it was the 6th episode. Just with the crazy shenanigans.
The secret recording equipment.
The secret recording equipment, I think, was my favourite part. I laughed out loud.
Probably mine as well.
And just enjoyed it, yeah.
Because she walks away, she's not in the scene, and then he confesses what he's been doing, and it cuts to her, like, and she's in like the back of a van kind of thing with recording equipment and everything. And then it sort of zooms out, and she's with all of that stuff right next to him with her. And then after that, she's like, "I don't care why you did it," and she screams into a microphone. It's so bizarre and out there. Yeah, I liked that.
I think my favourite part, I forgot about it, but now that you reminded me, because I watched them every couple of days, I don't know why I did that. My favourite part was the little, like, the little kind of arpeggio trill that they did whenever Mickey's heart skipped a beat. I liked that. That was an interesting way of communicating something. I also like that Mickey's just friends with Utena now. He's like, you beat me. And he's just fine with it. I like that he can put their differences aside. I think that they must be in the same year. Maybe he's a year below Utena. I don't know.
What's with his stopwatch? Because I thought he was just keeping the minutes of the meeting, but he uses it for everything. Like when he turns up to save Anthy from the Mean Girls, he stops his stopwatch before he says anything to her.
Maybe we'll find out in the next episode.
Maybe.
Any more predictions? You got updated predictions?
That's a good question. Predictions of this.
I think that the person who is going to be with Anthy in the end will be Seonji, because he said that they have a hidden love, and he had a book, and we don't know what's in the book.
Yeah.
That's a lie. I don't think that at all.
he was going, look, a plot hook. And then Utena's like, we don't care. He's like, shit.
No, I still think that the shadow people are real people, real characters that are going to come out and be like, hello.
Hello there.
Yeah. Because they talk strangely, so they'll be from Germany. And
we're going to meet Jury in maybe the next episode or the one after, perhaps.
Then where's it going to go? It's all... Oh, then Kiryu.
Yeah.
And then after that...
and a Kiryu episode.
And then she cycles through all 4 of them again.
And then there's going to be a prince. There's going to be a prince, like the actual prince.
He's dead.
Nah. He's there, and I think he might be end of the world.
In the castle?
Yeah, I reckon he's the one that's been sending them letters.
Because he's trapped in the castle as a ghost.
He's like, help me.
Yeah, just bring a ladder. Maybe.
Who's the redhead?
Kiryu. Yeah.
I think that Kiryu will somehow win Anthy. Anthy, sorry. And possibly marry. I reckon the final showdown will be him marrying.
But Utena comes in and says, I object.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a thing.
I don't know. I don't know if Utena and Anthy, are they just friends?
Well,
is right?
Utena isn't quite sure yet. So
The opening theme song is all about love and being together and doing anything to be with each other. And it's just her and Anthy, like, looking at each other and holding hands and stuff. And so they're obviously, like, leaning into the Yuri.
You know what? We've had fun here, but I think it's time to move on into a Weeb in review. As always, we start with our buffest anime boy, Curtis. I know that you've been doing a lot this week.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about it?
You tell me.
What you been up to, buddy? Don't tell me you've been slacking on those donuts again.
I did. I had 2 donuts before I came here. Yeah.
It'd be the worst thing to go to the gym after eating 2 donuts. You'd be like, fuck. Yeah. You get stitch.
Yeah, it wouldn't be nice.
And then Craig would come over and he'd drop a dumbbell on your foot and you'd be like,
I can't be bothered.
I'm sorry. Craig comes over and drops like a 5 kg thing on your foot and you're like, well, that's me done.
Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah.
Can't be bothered.
Not angry at Craig, just angry at myself.
If I hadn't had them donuts, I would have got out of the way.
Yeah.
Curtis, come on. Tell us, share your thoughts on Evangelion. I know you watched it. We should all watch it. We should do an Evangelion episode where we've watched the whole series and then we talk about it for 2 hours.
We could do that.
I would love to do that. Yeah. We could probably keep this in.
Yeah.
So nervous. Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
What is Evangelion?
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
You've talked about that one.
I have.
Remind me what it is, though.
Goodness,
what is Neon Genesis Evangelion? What is it about? I don't. You refresh my memory from what Joel told me it was a few episodes ago.
What are the type of mechas called?
Avas.
No, like you said, there's like
super robots.
Super robots.
Yeah.
I don't know what I've watched so far. It's about this boy, and I can't remember his name.
Shinji.
With the way you started that, I thought it was going to be like Neon.
No. I think this is the difference. This is the different, like, the way that I watch anime and the way that I enjoy shows is like one of the major things that makes me want to watch an anime is like the art style. And this is a show where I really like the art.
Why? What's different about it?
With the super robots, just so different from anything else that I've seen in any other anime. Not that I have a huge knowledge of anime, but definitely from like Gundam and stuff like that, Zoids. Which like square block.
Even
people.
like
so they're not quite as angular. You know?
These Evas are I wouldn't know how to describe them, like real sleek. I would describe I would describe them like a organic, like a American basketball player.
Okay, yeah.
They did release Nikes based on AV Unit 1.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. They're real sleek and like a Nike symbol for some reason that comes to my head.
I've got Frieza's final form in my mind, being sleek and sexy.
We'll show you something afterwards.
Yeah, and I've just been enjoying it. I enjoy the sort of emotion that this kid goes through having to pilot these Evas. It's taxing on him piloting them. He's got this. The whole storyline is what I know so far is that his father runs this. It's okay. It's essentially like. In the end of the world, kind of.
Right.
Japan, it's set in Tokyo 3.0, right?
Yeah. Wow,
cool.
So, like, they've had 2 other Tokyos. This is like the final.
Did they call it that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they call it Neo Tokyo, but at one point they call it something.
I was going to say, can you imagine when we get to that stage of, like, naming cities?
Yeah.
Like, we already got New York and stuff named after York.
Yeah.
But we didn't call it York 2.0.
No. And humans are on the brink of extinction, and their last way of survival against they've been brought to this point because aliens aliens. What are they? Angels? No. Angels are showing up, just murdering everyone.
Right.
These aliens take different forms.
Angels.
These angels take different forms. And
you said that they didn't know what they were, so they just called them angels. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So they could be aliens.
The
all aliens that people have just taken to.
They're from space. So.
Yeah, and
like angels are.
Yeah, the last, like, the military can't do shit. That's established in the first episode with like they're firing everything they've got at these angels, and they're not coming down. So this kid's father is a mad scientist and has a bunch of the government's money,
the world's money,
and he builds these giant, huge robots, and he gets these kids to pilot them. One of the kids,
because if projectiles and firearms and stuff can't damage them, robots certainly will.
They do actually explore the reason why A, kids have to pilot them, and why B, only the Avas can fight the angels.
Right.
There are reasons as to why.
That'd be interesting.
It's not well explained, and it's like second viewing. You're like, I see, and then like maybe watch a YouTube video, listen to a video essay, watch the movie. Certainly watch the movie.
Speak to some people about it.
I've watched about 6 episodes, and the character is slowly growing and progressing. He rejects piloting these things at first, but then takes that on. His relationship with his dad, who runs this program, is the weirdest relationship I've ever seen between a father and son. Yeah, they don't even talk to each other.
Oh, right.
He hadn't seen his father for like 7 years or something like that.
Yeah, he's 13.
Right. You remember me saying.
And it's a real well animated badass show.
Lots of fighting.
Yeah. I get really excited because I this is a show that I actually know a lot about. I pretend to know a lot about other shows.
Yeah.
And back to this being like the first like adult show that I got into.
Right.
It's been with me for a long time.
It's the first one that made for adults, wasn't it?
First one that they made for adults. God damn it. Wait until we've been doing this for like 5 years, and that's just going to be the meme. Like first show for adults. There were no shows for adults before this. Only shows for kids. Just a bunch of old angry Japanese men sitting in a room being like, "Why can't we watch shows? There's nothing targeting me.
Why don't we make one?
Crazy. We couldn't do that. Could we? We'd have to do it in secret.
Secret society.
It's the other thing is, so there's a manga series, there's an anime, there's a movie to finish off the anime, and then there's the Evangelion rebuild. Not to mention that you put Ava on anything, and it sells like fucking like $2 chips at a fish and chip shop. It just like it goes. Oh man, like you put Ray on a blanket. Obviously, that's going to sell. You put Ray on shampoo. People want their hair to look like Ray's. You put Ray on... Oh, no, you put Shinji on shavers for men. He's 13. He's never had facial hair. That's a smooth boy. People want to look smooth like that. It's like one of the biggest, best marketing tools of all time in Japan. And to this day. So they started making the Evangelion Rebuild series, which is where they got Hideaki Anno, the director and the creator, to come back and succinctly condense the anime into 4 movies. But he's changed some stuff. And the 4th one has been in development for like 7 years for some reason. The movie went on like hiatus for a long time. They just announced that it's back in development. But it's like the thing that they won't ever let die, but also it's very good. I haven't seen the Evangelion rebuilds because I was waiting for them all to get released. I think I might watch them because I got a hankering for it. And from what I've seen, you know how you're like, it's a really good looking show. Yeah. The movies, just like really, really well animated fight scenes.
Nice.
I definitely think that we shouldn't talk about Evangelion again until Robert has seen it and you've finished it and I might rewatch it.
Okay.
And then we'll just do like a special Evangelion cast.
Was it like one of the first mech things? Or was mech was already established?
The first proper mecha show to establish the genre, and I haven't seen this, but it's Mazinger, who's also the guy who wrote Devilman. He established a lot of genres. So Mazinger is about a robot that has to fight aliens. Right. He's a big old robot, and he always wins, and there's never a question about whether he'll win. He does it. The reason that Evangelion is the most well known, presumably apart from Gundam, mech show, that was a sentence, is because it fundamentally changed what mech shows were about. So they did still have, you had Super Robot and you had Real Robot, but instead of focusing on the conflict between the protagonists and the antagonists, or whatever the antagonizing force is, they focused on the internal conflicts between the characters that isn't even related to the thing that is happening or the reason that they're brought together. It's more about like Shinji's relationship with his father and Shinji's relationship with Rei, who his dad seemingly has a good relationship with, and even though they're the same age, and even I've forgotten the name of the woman that he lives with, which is bad.
Me too, man.
Jessica. No, that's awful. Anyways, it focuses on the interpersonal relationships and how they're all struggling. Like, every single person in Evangelion can almost be diagnosed with like a personality disorder because of a past trauma, and they deep dive into that. Curtis is glossing over it, I think. I don't know if it has done that deep dive yet, but everybody is struggling to just get by, and at the same time they have to deal with this conflict, which is just takes a side seat.
Would you say that A Slice of Life kind of focuses on the characters and interpersonal relationships and stuff?
Yeah.
So this is almost like somebody went, let's do a slice of life, but happening in a world where there's robots fighting aliens.
The other thing about Slice of Life, though, is that, not to detract from that, I think that there might be something there, but a lot of the time as well, Slice of Life had been about really happy people having a good old time at school, and this is like people having a really bad time all the time, every day.
Yeah.
It gets real messed up.
Greek tragedy.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a happy ending. It's just got a real weird ending.
It felt very real, and you've got all the character, there's like a whole cast of them. There's like 3 kids, right?
Yeah, there's 3 kids. Shinji's dad. There's the woman who Shinji's living with, and I've forgotten her name, which is fucked and really annoying. There's the blonde woman who is the one who keeps all the computers up and running.
Right.
And then there's a couple other supporting characters. Yeah. But that's the main cast.
And you learn about each sort of character.
Their histories and why they are there. It's so good. But no more talking about it until whenever we record that. That'd be a good filler one for us to record, because I don't know about doing another UTK yet. I don't know about that. But recording an Evangelion yet.
Yeah. Cool. What have you been doing, John?
I have been a busy anime boy. I didn't think I'd have time to watch anime, but turns out I did have time. I finished I Can't Understand What My Husband Is Saying. Only 3-minute episodes. So ran through that one. Of them? 12. Oh, I finished the first season. There's a second season that I haven't watched yet, but I want to pace it out. It's an anime show about a married couple, and the husband is an otaku, and the wife is not, and hence I can't understand what my husband is saying. I feel like, Robert, you shouldn't watch this until you've watched about 100 anime.
Right.
Or more, because it's the same thing, right? Like, there were a couple things that I recognized the show that they were referencing, but I didn't understand the reference.
Right, gotcha.
And I've seen, like, a lot more shows than you.
Yeah.
But the shows that they did reference, that I did get the joke of, I was like, yeah. It was a good time. Again, 3-minute episodes, really short, funny, and sweet. So
it's a YouTube thing.
No, it was on Crunchyroll. So it's like it's an official thing. It's based on a short manga series.
Okay. It's impressive to fit stories into 3 minutes.
They're just really short stories. Like, there's one about her drinking. Like, she comes home drunk, and she forces herself on him, and he's like, "Oh no!" And then they go out drinking the next night, and he is like, "I'll have a is it a Long Island iced tea?" He's like, "I'll have a short Long Island iced tea," kind of type thing. So he's like, he's not drinking at all because he's trying to. His only reason he's out with her is so that she doesn't get too drunk, but then she ends up getting too drunk anyway. But it's.
I was just going to ask a question. Is each show based on an anime sort of thing, or is it just anime?
No, it's just like he's an otaku, so the references and the things that he talks about are anime related.
Yeah.
like, there's one part where they're talking about having kids and whether or not they should do it. And she's like, what would we name our kids? And then it, like, cuts and frames him as a dad from an anime that I've seen, and then he names, like, that dad's 2 kids, and she's like, I'm leaving, like, I'm out. And he's like, no, wait, every name comes from, every single name is in an anime, and she's like, is my name in an anime? And then it cuts to, like, the halfway through the episode arc, and it's like her as that character from the anime that he meant.
Right.
It's funny. It's well done, and
Is it like standalone episodes, or is there a through line? Or?
There's a small through line, but it's mostly about... because the through line would be she doesn't know why she's married to him, and he doesn't know how he got married to her. Like, and they do how they met, but she's like, am I happy with him?
Right.
I don't know whether he's putting up with me or whether I'm putting up with him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch the second season. It was pretty good. The other thing that I started watching was School Days, and the reason I'm watching it is because it is got a level of notoriety within the anime community, because it's based on a visual novel series, a harem visual novel series where a guy goes to high school and he has the option of dating a bunch of girls. But the twist with this one is if you get a bad ending, it's really bad. Really horribly bad, and they went with, for the anime, the bad ending. They didn't do the good ending for the anime. And
what do you mean by if you get a bad ending?
So if you play an eroge, from what I can tell, I mean, not that I would know, but bad ending would be that you don't get any girls,
right?
Or like you make a girl mad and then it's like bad ending. Or same with like visual novels. If you just get the bad end, it's a multi-choice thing, so you can turn to page 25. Oh, you get goosebumped.
Yeah.
So. The bad ending for the visual novel School Days were notoriously bad in the visual novel community, and then for some reason when they adapted it, they went with the bad ending. The finale episode is so bad that in Japan they had to postpone. They had to, like, it was scheduled to air on like a Friday night, and then they, instead of playing the episode, played a boat just sailing around Norway, because the episode resembled a murder that happened, or like a crime that happened a couple days before, too similarly, and so it's like, oh, what's going on with that? So harem shows don't particularly interest me, but this interests me because it's got a bit of a story around it. It's like a bit of like an urban legend, so I'm gonna check that out. I'm only 3 episodes in, and it already feels off. Some of the characters are and it's the way that it's communicating it. Like one of the first shots is this guy looking at this girl, and it's the one that they're setting him up with. And it's like at school, and it's like a shot of him, and everybody behind him is just kind of like grey mannequins. They're not actually mannequins, but just grey shadow people.
Like silhouettes.
Silhouettes, yeah. At the end of the episode, they play it again, and there are about 7 girls behind him, all looking at him while he's looking at another girl. And it's like, I see what you did there. Because, like, the whole thing of harem games is like this one guy, and like, why would all these girls even be interested in this guy? And it's like, oh no, all these girls are interested in this one guy. Oh no, that's a bad thing, not a good thing.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes.
Nice.
The other thing that I did, Weeb related but not anime, I started reading, and I talked to Robert and Curtis about this already because I saw them earlier in the week. I started reading Grappler Baki, and holy shit, that manga is strange, and I'm loving it. but copyright. Grappler Baki is about, I thought he was 12, but he's 17 where I'm reading it, so I don't know. It's about a boy who wants to be the strongest fighter in the world. He studies karate for 1 month, and then he wins an entire world tournament. Like, what's up? And the art is strangely, hideously beautiful. I don't like it, but I love it. There's a scene where he's about to go into for his final fight, and he eats a bunch of bananas, like a whole bunch. Not like the quantity a bunch, but a bunch of them. A bunch of
collective noun of bananas.
A bunch of protein stuff, and then an entire 1.5 liter of flat Coke. And like, so that, specifically an entire one. So like, they show him eating a bunch, and everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck's this guy deal?" And then he like walks over, grabs a flat Coke, like smashes the top of it, which is not how you open a plastic bottle. And then sculls it, and then
I mean, as our anime personal trainer, you would know that is what the powerlifters and stuff. What they
say in the, I wasn't sure, but in the manga, there's a guy who says
Coke and bananas.
There's a guy who says in the manga, flat Coke is what marathon runners use because it is so good at distributing energy. Look at that, so are bananas, and so are the other things that he ate. But he ate so much of them, he must have an inhuman level metabolism. And then he looks at the camera like, yeah. There's a part where a guy, they lower, like big concrete pipes.
Mm.
They lower a big concrete pipe onto the stage for this guy to do a demonstration. And it's like taller than he is. And he leaps 6 or 7 feet into the air, into the pipe, and then starts punching holes in the concrete pipe. And then he stamps the ground and launches the concrete pipe into the air, and then punches it until it's just dust.
Nice.
Yeah. And then when he tries to intimidate Baki by punching beside his face, Baki just leans into it and just kisses his fist. Baki's also got so Baki's covered in just hideous scars. And, they're hinting at the fact that he might be a sadist because somebody wants to fight him, and he's like, oh, what, me? I don't know about fighting. And then they're like, fuck that. I saw you fight at that competition. You can fight real good. So let's throw down. And then when the guy goes away, Baki starts doing a maniacal laugh under his breath, which was strange. But Baki's covered in scars, probably because he fights good and fights a lot. His dog is also covered in scars.
Oh, God.
So I want to know what his dog story is. It's just a weird... All the drawings are really strange, and people just say strange stuff. Like, if you put a mouth guard in, and it increases your power by 30% because it aligns your spine with your skull.
Yeah.
Because as we know, teeth are directly connected to the skull.
If there are any chiropractors listening, could you just let us know how much it is? Because I imagine that they're exaggerating with 30%.
30%. No,
if it's 20 or something.
No, they're giving it a conservative estimate. It's more like 60.
It's more like 60 in real life.
And the reason that Baki wins the fight is because he goes to the dentist on a regular basis and has natural power increase, and he smiles and reveals pearly whites.
This is amazing.
Okay, so the thing is, the reason I'm enjoying it so much is I don't know if it's supposed to be a comedy or not.
Right.
I can't tell whether the guy was he's seen Dragon Ball Z and he's seen they just have these exponential power increases, and he's like, how can I rationalize this? How can I just come up with any kind of reason as to why this would be happening? Or I know, eating a lot of bananas and some flat Coke. Because bananas I can understand.
Yeah.
But flat Coke as opposed to fizzy Coke? Why is the flatness of it the thing that gives you energy? I don't know.
I love that, yeah.
It's really bizarre. And from what I've heard, it gets 100 times stranger. Because Baki's dad is the strongest man alive.
Okay.
And they explore that because Baki gets destroyed by his dad, and so they've been like, well, we've already established that he's the strongest man alive. What about the strongest man not alive? And so they unfreeze a caveman. And then do you know how? Okay, so this is spoilers for Grappler Baki from now on. The reason I'm reading it was because they pitched me on this was he's like, no living thing, no, this caveman was stronger than every dinosaur because dinosaurs and cavemen lived at the same time. Look it up.
Yeah.
This caveman was stronger than any living dinosaur. I have to imitate all the dinosaurs because he couldn't be stronger than all of them at once. So to defeat him, Baki incorporates the fighting styles of every dinosaur.
Wow.
Fighting style.
Also, there's a competition where you can bring any fighting style you want, and then as long as it's an established style, you can you stick to your rules. Like, I'm going to use karate.
Yeah.
I'm going to use jujitsu. This guy comes in, he's like, I have crime fighting style, and they're like, cool. He brings out a gun and shoots somebody in the face, and they're like, it's in the rules. Totally legal because he's got crime fighting style. So it has to be a comedy. They're leaning into how ridiculous it is.
Yeah,
but we'll chuck up some screenshots on the Twitter or something of just how ridiculous some of the weird posing and body drawing is.
Wow, with what I've seen, it goes wow.
With what I'm describing?
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Also, really quickly, not going to talk about it for very long. I am a One Piece boy now, and I'm a devout One Piece boy. So,
but only the manga.
I considered going back to the anime, and I decided against it. Again, if anybody is listening and wants to recommend maybe a good arc or two, because I've watched the first 6 episodes and I wasn't having a good time, so recommend me a filler arc. That one where they fall. Tell me what episodes that is, and I'll watch that. But One Piece is very good. That's it. That's my week.
How's your week? You're doing quite a bit.
16 chapters of Baki, couple episodes of School Days, couple episodes of... I've watched something else as well, but I'll wait till I finish it before talking about it.
I hadn't had a heck of a lot of time, but I did get to episode 10 of Sailor Moon, so I watched another few episodes of that. They finally have started to move away from girly stereotypes, but they're still following the exact same formula. Even after they added right after. So we got to episode 7, and you were like, you said something about Sailor Mercury, and I'm like, no, I don't know who that is. And then episode 8, they introduced Sailor Mercury, and then episode 10, they introduced Sailor Mars as well. So they're suddenly getting to the actual story. So I don't know if I'm gonna leave it or not, but they are finally 10 episodes in, finally getting to like hints of actual through line. Like there's talk of Silver Crystal and the Dark Kingdom, and they've just introduced Sailor Mars and stuff as well. So it could actually get interesting. I don't know. I
feel like it will be the same as Dragon Ball Z because it's got not quite as many episodes. But I feel like it has a lot of the same trappings. Right. Except it does have Tuxedo Mask, and he is a mysterious hot boy. I don't know who he is, but...
He's certainly not been introduced.
Nobody knows who he is.
I watched a thing on YouTube that was like things you didn't know about Sailor Moon. And apparently the reason that there's no Sailor Earth is that like there's something to do with like the planet's crystals, like the Venus crystal and the Earth crystal and the Mars crystal or whatever. And Tuxedo Mask is the one who holds the Earth crystal. And only girls can be Sailor people. And so he can't be Sailor Earth, but he's the equivalent as a bloke or something.
What's the planet? What's our planet that has like 3 moons or something?
Saturn. One in our solar system?
Yeah.
Well, we have 1. Mars has 2, and then all of the gas giants have like 60.
Right. So are there
moons? A Sailor of those moons? I did wonder that. I wondered if there was a Sailor Europa and a Sailor Titan and stuff like that. But no. There are plenty of other sailors though. They go on to like naming them all kinds of weird stuff. I can't even remember them off the top of the head.
Sailor Amethyst.
Sailor Star and stuff.
Sailor Star, because every single star.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not enjoying it as much as Cardcaptor Sakura. So given time constraints, I'll probably ditch Sailor Moon at this stage. Cardcaptor Sakura, I did watch a couple more. I like that they are starting to. There's elements of like self-referential humor from Kiro, the little winged lion thing. At the end of one of the episodes I just watched, there's like a pun. Somebody says something that relates to the bad guy of that episode, or the bad card of that episode, and then he sort of says, he doesn't look at the camera to say it, but he does say to one of the other characters, "We even got to finish on a punchline."
Right. And
then coincidentally, I normally just skip it once it hits the outro music. I just turn it off and do something else. But I let it run because I was doing something else, and I realised that after the outro music, there's another segment where it's him talking to the camera.
It's not like a next time.
No, it's a Leave It to Kiro, they call it, and he's talking to the camera. And he's like in a silk dress robe, and he's got like a pipe or something. He's like sitting in a chair, and he talks about the episode that we just watched, and more than that, he talks about like the fashion of the episode. He like looks at the fashion of Sailor Moon's Sakura's outfit, and breaks it down, and then he's like, we're all out of time now. He was talking about again in that episode. There was an episode where she's trying to capture some water in an aquarium. And she's like flying through this aquarium down the escalators and stuff while this water's chasing her. And her friend with the video camera fetish, she's following her, recording it and stuff. And then in like the wrap up, she's showing Sakura all of the footage that she got, and it's the footage that we've seen, like the actual footage. And he goes, "I don't know how you got that shot." It's just like a little something that's easy to miss when you don't think about how the shots are set up and stuff. But yeah, I'm liking that one. I'm going to continue with that one for a bit more.
Heck, might have to get my teeth into that one. I want to talk about Cowboy Bebop.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
I'm sure that whether you're a friend or whether you're a foe, surely you've heard of Cowboy Bebop. It's as pervasive in like adult anime culture as Dragon Ball Z, I would say.
I don't think I'd heard of it until I started the podcast, but I heard of it almost immediately.
Yeah, it's so ubiquitous that as soon as you start to even have a remote casual interest, it's like you need to watch Cowboy Bebop.
And I've heard of it a lot since outside of this.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I have heard of it, I hear it everywhere else. So.
For any of you foes who haven't heard of it, maybe you've heard of a little thing called Firefly. That was one of the... Cowboy Bebop was one of the shows that directly influenced Firefly being made. But I personally think that Cowboy Bebop is better. I've been thinking about how I want to recommend this show, and it's kind of difficult because it's one of those shows that, again, so well known that I fear that it will fail under the weight of its own hype if anybody watches it now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But it's so good. It's so good. So it's almost an anthology series following a group of space cowboys, bounty hunters, as they fulfill bounties, and sometimes episodes shift genres just entirely. Like sometimes they'll do crime cop thrillers, sometimes there's one like sci-fi horror episode's not that scary, but they play around with the horror genre. They do an acid trip where everybody eats mushrooms for one episode because they think that they're good but they're really bad.
It's the quenchiest.
It's the quenchiest. So it covers a lot of ground, which is exciting and entertaining in and of itself. But the reason that I think it has such staying power is because of the way that it treats its characters. So, you know, in sitcoms and other Western TV shows where something wacky happens and then they never learn from it because you have to go back to zero.
Yeah.
I feel like the way that they indirectly treat this is that everybody is in a state of arrested development. So Spike, the main character, he is everybody who he used to know thinks he's dead. He used to be involved in organized crime, and now his one mission is to like get revenge. And because that's his one mission, everything that happens just kind of falls by the wayside. And he there are points in time where people tell him, you know, like, you don't have to do this anymore. Surely it's been so long that you can just let it go. And he's just like, no, like, it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters except for this. Jet was betrayed by his partner. He's a cop. Betrayed by his partner. Classic story. Again, hasn't let it go. Won't move on. And kind of doesn't know how to move on. He still has friends in the police force, but he doesn't know how to marry up his, like, you know, because bounty hunters are technically sanctioned by the police, but they kind of operate on not good terms with cops, if that makes sense. So he doesn't really know how to marry up those two things, and he's really bitter about his past. Because, Spike isn't quite bitter, he's just obsessed, whereas Jet is, like, grumpy and old. And Faye, another character, she got cryogenically frozen like Fry from Futurama. And when she wakes up, she has nothing. And she doesn't know how to exist in this world other than to manipulate people. And so she is stuck, literally, because she knows nobody, and everybody that she does know she pushes away because of something else that happens in her story. So the character... And on first viewing, or like when you watch it when you're younger, you don't really get that. You just watch it and...
It's a fun cowboy.
It's a fun cowboys in space, and it's beautifully animated. Like, surely, Curtis, you can step in and add some testimony to, like...
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So you've seen it as well?
Yeah.
Like,
how long is it?
26, 24 episodes? I've forgotten. I have it on Blu-ray.
Something like that.
One season?
One season, yeah.
And then a film.
And then a film. And the film takes place in between episodes 21 and 22, I think. Yeah. And the film is decent. Beautiful, but the story is kind of...
But it was made after the fact?
As like a homage. Cowboy Bebop is also not based on a manga, which is another, like... Because usually, you know, we've talked about how a lot of the time to get greenlit, you have to have, like, proven audience, and it was getting to the era in the 90s where they just were only doing manga, so the fact that it's as good as it is and isn't based on existing material is just, like, another testament to how good it is.
Yeah. Was it, like, cancelled?
No, that's the other thing. It ended, and it ended on its own terms, and it ended in a way that some people, I don't know. Actually, I don't know what people's opinion are on the ending. I think it's really good. I think it's the tone of the ending is fitting for the show. It covers a lot of different ground, and you'll have most episodes of filler, but they explore a theme or an idea in an interesting way. I haven't even mentioned Ed. He's the fourth member of the Bebop. And is a young little hacker who it's not immediately clear why the crew, I mean, apart from Ed blackmails them, but, they have plenty of opportunities where they can abandon Ed, and they don't. And that's interesting in and of itself. It's a really good show, and it has a lot of heart, and I should have done a recommendation more like this for Neon Genesis, but it has hype, but it is absolutely warranted. It is beautiful in artistic ways and narrative ways, and I can't recommend it enough. And I need to rewatch it, actually. Go back to it. Check out Cowboy Bebop, you dumb fucks.
Nice.
That was a bit better, right?
Yeah,
that was
good.
articulate.
Yeah.
I stumbled a little bit.
Yeah,
Just pat myself on the back.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear what Regis says about it.
Oh no, he's gonna come in. You guys forgot that Joss Whedon actually... I don't like Joss Whedon.
What? How do you not like Joss Whedon?
Just think he writes a lot of the same shit. Don't like Buffy. I like Firefly, but I don't like...
Did he do Lost?
Hope not.
No,
Holy
no.
fuck.
Who did Lost?
Hope nobody did Lost. I hope that
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
Right, yeah.
I feel like Joss Whedon...
Whedon did the Avengers, right?
Yeah. He's done a lot of the
Marvels.
A lot of the Marvel movies. I feel like he knows how to write things that are funny, but the funny doesn't necessarily fit within the context of what he's doing. And that's just a personal thing. Like when you're fighting somebody and it's serious, don't make quips.
Right,
yeah.
Like, it's the whole thing of like, you gotta, like in horror, right? I'm employing, this is like film theory in horror. You have to increase the tension, and then there has to be a release.
Yeah.
And then you like let it simmer again.
Yeah.
If you're constantly punctuating like serious moments with random bits of comedy and quips, I feel like the power that scene could have had is undermined. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what he's going for. Maybe that's fine. Maybe it's just supposed to be a lighthearted romp. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. But if I feel like there's space for things to coexist.
I feel like you've got an example in mind. What are you thinking of?
I don't have anything in particular in example, but like any fight scene in the Marvel movies pre the latest Avengers is just like...
You could picture like Tony Stark just...
quipping.
Yeah.
Just
whilst
like...
his life is in danger, supposedly. Yeah.
You're not going to buy me a drink first? It's like, your wife just almost died.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a minor. It's a personal gripe, not a minor gripe. It's personal to me. Let's wrap things up. If you want to keep in touch, if you want to get in touch, you can email us at KYF at 31 times. You can email us at KYFCayac at gmail.com. That's KYFCaYAC@gmail.com. We're on all the social media, so do something there. Do a thing.
Just about that. We're on YouTube as well, but it is just the audio. Somebody commented, I hate Google on YouTube, commented that he or she would like the there to be video as well, because that's how they watch. But we don't record video.
Well,
just the audio
subscribe. So go to our sponsor, audible.com/ insert a funny joke and subscribe to get one free copy of an audiobook written and read by me called How to Lift an Anime. I know it sounds crazy, but it can be done. There are extra little ellipses and punctuation points
right.
for the pauses.
Yeah.
That's how it's read.
Yeah.
So audible.com/ insert a funny joke, and then we'll be able to afford a camera and you can watch us just go for days.
Yep.
We're all very handsome.
Very.
Shoujo-esque. Yeah. My eyes take up 1/3 of my head, I think.
Yeah, they're bigger than your wrists. I've noticed that before. It's weird. My hair is a bright, vibrant colour, but I won't tell you which.
Can you guess? Next week, we're going to be watching episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. We're having a grand old time. So, until next week, I have been your anime personal trainer, Joel.
I was your anime first-time gym goer, Robert.
I was your anime fat man, diet needing, donut eating, anime Curtis. Until next week, missing truth and forever, kissing love and true your heart.